2009. But I want to just focus on this point, Mr Chair.
Claire Curran.
Mr Chair, I want to talk to the title of this bill, which is the Social Security Amendment Bill, which should really be called the Social Sanctions Amendment Bill. So many of my colleagues on this side of the House and in other parties on this side of the House have talked about this issue tonight, about how much this bill is about sanctions and what its focus is. I want to talk to you about Bronwyn, who came into my office last month to ask for advice. She's 55 and has worked for a school for the last 12 years as a literacy tutor for 22 hours a week. Her husband was made redundant last October. He has worked all his life. Since then, he's managed to pick up a little bit of casual work, but he and his wife finally approached Work and Income for some assistance because he couldn't find full-time work. Instead of getting that assistance, Bronwyn, who had worked in this job as a literacy tutor, for which she has trained for which she has a lot of experience, she was told to leave that job and find a full-time job. She loves her current job, she's well qualified for the position, and she feels that she makes a bit of a difference. But because of the necessity of accepting a helping hand from the state during an economic downturn, she is likely to have to leave that full-time that position and get a full-time entry position that does not pay nearly as much as she is earning at the moment. Jobs in her area for her husband are scarce, and these people are between a rock and a hard place. When a new Countdown supermarket opened in South Dunedin last year, around 1,400 people applied for the 115 positions that were available. 1,400 people. Of the 1,285 people who didn't get those jobs, they haven't just walked into other jobs. This is the fundamental issue with this bill. People want to work. People want to work. Why doesn't this government understand that? Why doesn't this government understand that what people want is a job and an income and to look after their families? We're not all as well off as everybody else. Some people do have disadvantages. This bill is ultimately about pushing the buttons of making those people feel as if they are second-class citizens, as if they somehow don't fit the bill. Therefore, they have to be treated differently to everybody else. I don't understand that. I don't think anybody on this side of the House understands that. And so that is why we fundamentally object to the underlying assumption in this bill that those on government support who are there because they need to be there don't want to work. And I want to talk to you about people, the other group of people in society, and I know some of my colleagues have touched on this, and these are people with disabilities, people who struggle to get to first base, to get that interview, because they either don't have the skills or they don't have the ability to get chosen for an interview. And these people, many of whom are on sickness and invalid benefits, are desperate to work. They're desperate to contribute to society, to be productive members of society. But for some reason, that side of the House is actually putting more barriers in their way with introducing bills like these. And that is an absolute disgrace. As CCS Disability Action eloquently stated during the submissions on this bill. This bill will not add one single more job for a disabled person. It does nothing about the attitudes of employers and workers. It does nothing about the ability to make adjustments in the workplace. Nothing about access to education or work experience. If the bill wishes to provide opportunities for people with disabilities to move into the workforce, it doesn't contribute. I mentioned earlier about the freezing of the mainstream funding. I'd like to know what this government is going to do about that.
Melissa Lee.
I move that the question be now put.
We've had 7 speeches and half a speech has been on clauses 1 to 3. I'll give Darian Fenton an opportunity.